the same thing that we covered last week. We're going to slow down a little bit. I want you guys to ask questions. If there's anything you want to say, like that kind of stuff. I want to talk back and forth. I don't want to. You guys know what dictate means? No. We're going to learn a lot of words this year, good and bad. But dictate is one. That means I don't want to tell you everything, right? I want to talk about it, and I want to hear questions. Raise your hand. Just speak, right? If we can just speak, I'd prefer that. But if we start getting loud, we'll raise our hand. But what we're going to cover again is very similar to last week. Those of you like Hunter, Jude, I don't see Franco in here, from Mason, like that already kind of know some of this, Eli, that know some of this stuff. Let everybody else think, and I want them to answer. Now, there's honestly never a wrong answer. It's either a misunderstanding or you've never been informed. So if you answer something and it's wrong, it's okay that it's wrong. Just like out there, I would rather you fall when you're trying to cut on your edges than to stand straight up and slowly coast around, right? Same thing in here. I'd rather you ask or answer what you might feel is silly so that we can make sure it's correct now so that you're not wondering later on, okay? So we're going to start with my favorite part again, which is going to be the defense and how we run our defense, okay? So here's our defenders, right? Where would our center be?
In the middle.
Okay. Not you two. How about you, Teddy? Brady?
In like the middle.
Like, would he be in the middle up here? Would he be in the middle here or middle down here?
Like middle at the top.
Middle up here? 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 Like this. All right, so remember, I'm not going to draw it. If we think about last week, right, if we kind of put notches here, right, these are kind of the center parts of each one of these zones that we play in, right? If you remember, this defensive guy kind of has this whole little notch, right? He has this whole section right here, right, when you're playing defense. When you're playing defense, you're never down here in the mess, right? And a center, the reason why the center is typically somebody who, one, has a very strong stick, but a large pair of what?
Lungs.
Lungs, right? And why is that?
So they can skate down and back.
Because they got to skate a lot, right? The center's not always going to be maybe the fastest stick handler or the fastest player, but it's typically going to be the player that can breathe really well, right? That doesn't get tired, that can do a long shift because they are going back and forth all over the place, right? So then your forwards, right, they'll kind of be down in this area. Now, like I said, we'll cover the way we did it in A1 last year. Coach Adam's going to have a different way. Coach Nick's might have a different way. But we're going to cover the parameters of what you want to play in. But at the end of the day, when you're out there playing, who do you listen to?
Your coach.
Let the other kids. Yes, you listen to your coach. Because I might want to play an aggressive style of defense. Coach Adam might want to play maybe a little more reserved. And Coach Nick might want to play completely reserved, right? There's multiple facets and multiple ways of playing these positions. All right, so if we're here, hey, Nico, we're here,
You guys just sit in front.
and we have the other, team, right? I'm going to call them X's. When we play, do we know who these two guys are?
Forward.
Hey, coach, real quick, it'd help maybe showing the kids which direction we're going on the ice.
We're going this way.
Okay, does everyone know that?
Yeah, we're going, right now, we're playing as though we're on offense.
Okay. Does that make sense, guys? So the defense are in the back, forwards are going forward to the net. Make sense?
That's a good call. I made the assumption. Right, so who are these two guys?
Defense.
Defense. Who's this guy?
Center.
Who's these two?
Defense. No, that's left and right. Wings.
Yes,
Forward.
wings, forwards, whatever we want to call them. All right? So if right now, this guy here, so let's go ahead and just, so let's say this defensive guy here is actually sitting down here. We have their center is down here, and he has the puck. Okay? So who are the two guys? If this guy's down here, kind of in the corner, right here. Okay, this is the puck. Who is it that comes down? Who's down here battling normally for the puck? Who's it? Yes, it's a forward, right? Who else is over here? Who else can be over here fighting for the puck?
Center.
First year's old. Yes,
Okay.
the center. Do you ever have a D-man down here fighting for the puck? Very rarely not. Who's the other one helping this forward over here?
Defense.
Right? It's going to be defense on the other team and forward on the offensive team, right? So this guy's the center. He's got the puck. And our defensive man, right? Like it changes hands, right? So now the other team has it, right? Let's just call them Merrimack, right? Merrimack's got the puck. They're coming back up. What's this D guy do?
You gotta go to the wall.
He steps up, right? He does what you'll hear us yelling, pinch, right? Right? We want you to step in and pinch. And how do we step in and pinch? What's the first thing we do when somebody has the puck, they're coming to us? That's it, we're trailing behind them. That's back checking, but that is smart that you know that already. What do we do? Like I have the puck, I'm going towards you, Lawson. What's the first thing you want to do with your stick?
Take the puck.
Yes, but you do that by stick on stick, right? You come to me, not trying to put your stick on the puck. Put it on my stick. And then your body collides into my body, right? So that's where we say this is more physical, right? We did a tournament last week for a couple AU kids. Y'all were getting knocked down a lot, right? That's technically not allowed in AU. It's going to happen 100% now, okay? You're going to get hit. You still want to go through the hands. We're not outright checking each other. We're not shouldering. We're not running backs. You still want them to go through their hands. But the best way to take the puck away, fundamentally, for you guys, is put your stick on their stick, your body on their body, right? So you'll hear us yell pinch. So if Merrimack's coming up with a puck, right, he's pinching, what does this defensive guy do? Mason? He moves to the middle, right? Now let's pretend, Mason, I'm going to have you answer this also. Let's pretend Merrimack is faster than us. Does he just go right there? Where would he actually want to sit? Yes, instead of if it's a slower team, right? Let's say we're playing St. Pete's, right? And it's a slower team, right? We can come and we can still sit on the aggressive side of the blue line. If it's a faster team like Merrimack, we're actually going to come back here. We're going to play defense here. And what is in this position, right? Let's say the forward gets past our defense. What is his job?
To move forward.
His job's to pinch.
To slow down.
What's his job? If he gets past our defense, right? This guy's going. Your secondary guy, right? We're playing a Merrimack St. Pete team, a fast team. He's right here. What's his job? Harlan?
To slow them down.
To slow them down, right? His job isn't to jump over here and also try and take the puck, right? His job, right, if he gets past, right, he's going, and this defensive guy is tracking backwards, right? You got your defense here, and he's here. All he's doing, right, is trying to slow this center from the other team. He's just trying to slow him down. Right? He's not being overly aggressive. He's being a wall, right? He's skating, right? We do a lot of work where you're skating backwards, wide stance, and we'll have drills where we get you guys to take your stick and you just start sweeping, right? And all you're trying to do is cover a large area, right? You guys ever see a peacock?
Yeah.
Right? They get their tail feathers real big. They're just trying to, in the gym I call it peacocking. You see the guy that's walking around real big. That's all you're doing. You're just trying to get real wide. And we're trying to do that wide. What are these guys going to do? You said it just a second ago.
Lift up your stick.
Right, but what do we call that when they're coming back? place that word? Back check, yes, right? So what this guy is doing is he's slowing everything down because defensive one has been beat. The center on the other team or forward's got the puck, he's moving. Now our forwards, right, and our center is coming back to back check. That's the guy that's going to come up behind him and pop his stick up and sweep the puck away. Okay? Now, this guy here does become aggressive when you get behind our own blue line. Right? When we're in our zone, that's where I want that gap to close. Right? So initially, if John B pop up. So John B's right there, he's coming towards me. I'm slow, I'm low, and I'm sweeping back and forth. When he gets closer, because we're crossing that line, now I'm a brick wall and he's going to run into it. You're going to get hit. Half of this game is just stopping the other team from moving, right? So you get low and make him run into you. Most of the time, you're not going to get called for anything, okay? You're going to play to the rest, but the majority of the time, you're going to get hit. There's not going to be any interference or anything. So when you get on the opposite side, so in your zone, that's where I want you guys to close that gap. Okay? I'm going to walk through it one more time since we have it written on here. Okay? And somebody keep me honest on time. Right? We had the puck. We're all down here in our zone. Okay? We end up losing the puck. Their center, speedy guy. Right? He's a speedy guy. So where does this defensive guy go? Somebody raise their hand. It's on the board. Not you. Ready?
They go to our zone and get in front of him.
They go to the center of the ice, right? Because he's passing him right here, so you don't want to sprint, right? We never turn our back and skate, right? But he's passing him, right? This guy's pinching, so you're either, if it's a slow team, you stay on the aggressive side. If it's a faster team, you stay on the less aggressive side. But you come to the center of the ice, right? So that basically, when I played football, I had a coach that called it Kentucky windage, right? If you've ever been on the plains of Kentucky, the wind's always kind of blowing in a curve, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to cut the guy off, right? As he's going one way, you're angling yourself the same way to cut him off, right? And he's going to have more speed. He's going to have more time to be moving, and you're going to be reacting, right? So you have to take the right angle, right? So this guy right here is backing up. So then when we cross this blue line, then what do we do?
Hit him!
What do we do?
Make a burger. Like with your hand.
That's when you slow down, right? And that's when I want you to be aggressive. Because at that point, your goalie has had more than enough time to get themselves set, right, Eli? And the last thing Eli wants, I'm not going to write on it, the last thing Eli wants is this guy to be slowly moving back, doing what to you, Eli? He doesn't want him to be screened, right? No goalie ever wants somebody sitting right behind them. And trust me, you guys are not paying attention well enough behind you to know if you're screening your goalie or not, okay? So that's why we're aggressive, kind of this side of the blue line, before these kind of halfway markers, okay, Hunter? That's when you're going to be aggressive, and at that point, if nobody's back checked,
Hit him!
it is up for the goalie to make the play at that point. Okay? Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Who has a question?
Is to put the puck in the net.
Yes.
And beat that team.
That's
Forwards do.
If we lose the puck back here, forwards and centers are what we talked about. They're back checking. They are skating back as fast as they possibly can to lift the stick of the guy that has it. And I say lift the stick. There's a million ways you can take the puck. Popping a stick up is typically the easiest when you're being beat, right? There's no tripping, right? But just getting your stick under there and popping it, causing some kind of confusion or some kind of opportunity. But you'll hear us yelling back check. So if you hear during the scrimmage today, we're hearing forecheck and back check. We'll work with just back check today. We'll cover forecheck another day. But if you hear us yelling back check, that means get back. Okay? But to that point, where Coach Derek was leading me, if the puck is down here, you've been on the ice for say 60, 70, 80 seconds. The defensive guy is down here. Is it a great time to shift?
No.
Okay, I'm glad everybody knows that. Do not leave your defensive guys to hang out, right? Don't leave them to hang them to dry, whatever you want to call it. That is not the time. When you're getting your butt kicked is not the time. You shift when things are happening in your zone. Okay? Defense, right? If we're all of a sudden the red team, we do not shift when we're defending our goal, right? But if we're moving and we're an offense, defense can shift, forwards can shift. You shift all when you're in the offensive zone. Does everybody understand?
Yeah.
All right, so for next week, we'll make sure to cover that again. Just kind of think about that today in your minds as you're visualizing what's happening when you're on the bench. Would this be a good time to shift or not? Okay, any other questions?
Is the far side forward, back check towards the puck?
But no?
What did you say?
Does that far side forward up top, back check towards the puck and get that puck?
No. Yeah.
Why? Yeah, why?
So he can help. So he can pass it up to either the center or the other forward to get a breakaway.
So if that guy comes across the ice to back check towards the puck, what about that offensive player on red that's coming down that far wing? What's that do for him? Right, you got that?
He lost me.
Leaves him wide open, right?
It's kind of like a football play. You know, like when someone's throwing a pass, if you don't cover them, it makes it really easy for them to catch the pass, right? Even if they don't have the ball yet. You still got to play your position to make sure that that guy's not wide open.
If you're that forward in that top corner, right, do you come all the way across to get the puck?
Wait, which side is it on?
Up top, up here, this guy, right?
Center's got a puck
Is it on
over
your
himself.
defensive side or about to get to your defensive side?
You're coming back on off offense to defense. That top forward, that winger, is he coming down here or is he coming to get that puck and help out the defenseman?
Come to get the puck. Are they about to have a breakaway?
No. Just explain it. Go answer the question.
That forward is not coming across to get this puck because of this, right? What is this? If that forward comes across the ice, what does that leave there?
He's gonna block it. He's gonna block it.
We're going to leave a far side forward on their side open for a pass right here, right? So then that defenseman now has to look at the play coming here and this guy potentially for a pass. So forwards, the wingers, the center's back checking towards the middle, but the wingers, you're staying on your sides, right? So unlike AU where we're kind of everywhere, that forward in the top corner is coming as fast as he can down this side, and he's trailing, or trying to get ahead of their forward, that winger, right? That takes away the pass from that guy.
So who do you think Eli's looking at? The guy with the puck or the guy without it?
With the puck. Because
So-
goalies need to save the puck.
Yes, right? So what you're trying to do is take away that opposite guy, the guy in his peripheral vision. Right? Because if he's coming, the goalie, and I tell you guys on offense all the time, Jude, I know I've told you this 100 times. You're coming down the ice, that goalie's staring at you. Who's he not staring at? He's not staring at him. So if you move the puck to him, who's more likely to make a goal on the goalie? The guy that the goalie's staring at and is in perfect position on, or the backside.
Backside.
So it's the same thing here. This forward has to come and protect, which means these centers and this other forward, and even the D, have got to get back as fast as they can. This way. Things Nick will make sure to cover for you guys when he goes over all our defensive stuff. So that's a good thing to think about where we're getting at. So any other questions? There's got to be another question. Defense is the funnest job out there on the entire sheet ice. Everybody tells you different, it's lying to you. All right, what other questions? Question, Hunter. Any other questions? Any other honest questions? All right, I'm going to cover one more thing real quick. And this is more of a skill thing. This is what I want to see happening when you guys are on offense. And I'm going to drill this into your head a ton. Because where do our goals typically come from? Is it the player shooting or is it a rebound? Rebound or trash goals, right? It's things down here in front of the net, okay? So when you guys are coming down the ice, right, if you're the black team, right, and the red team is playing defense against us, what I want to see you guys do is I want you to get to the net, right? So if you hear me yell skate, right, so the puck's coming down here, So let's say this defensive guy has the puck. He's coming towards the net, right? He's got a breakaway, right? We'll talk about that later. Defense gets to do a lot of running. He's coming down the ice. And these two forwards are chasing him, right? So here's a forward. Here's the forward. Here's, I'm going to say this is Jude right there, back behind everybody. Here's the other defense. Right? So where should these guys be going? Should this forward here on a breakaway, should he be going down here? Or should he be going to the net?
To the net!
Should he be going to this side of the net or this side of the net?
Far side.
That side, right? And where should this one, right? So we know, right, we're looking at this. We've got a defense and a center behind us. We have a forward, and a defender who's running down the ice with the puck. This one we're going to send to the backside, right? We're not going to send him up here. Right? This secondary, this forward is going to move to the backside. Where do we want that forward to be?
In the defensive spot. Yeah.
Now, quick. You already got the defense. You got one actual D. You got a center back there. This guy's going to be, he's going to be right in front of the net. Okay. You do this, right? Then he takes his shot from right here. It's going to come in, and if it bounces, it's either going to bounce in front or it's going to bounce to the side. Okay. Can it go to this way? Yes, it can. Okay. I want you guys to crash, listen to me, crash the net on your stick. We have a stick in here?
No, I can go grab one.
No, you're good. I want you to get low, right? You're not standing like this, waiting for it. Your hand is down low on the shaft, and you're not trying to shoot it in when it comes to you. You're just redirecting your stick. It's going to ricochet. You know what ricochet means? Right? It's going to bounce off and redirect itself. I want to see that happening tonight when we do our scrimmage. So if you're playing forward, or if you're in a breakaway, you are to sprint down the ice and position yourselves. Okay? We understand? So a lot of goals next year will happen off of these crazy breakaways. Right? Jude or Eli, did you get most of your goals scored on you from somebody taking sweet shots up top, or from them it being a 3-on-1? It's a 3-on-1. It's impossible for them to defend a 3-on-1. Because this guy here can either pass to one of these other two guys, or he can take that shot and he's just there to, Eli real good kick save on one side, and then he's got to turn around and back himself over. At this age, right, he's not quite there, right? He's not as wide as the net like in the NHL. So if he's over here doing a quick, good save, and it bounces off, there's all this side of the net for us to ricochet the puck into, right? So let's work on that tonight. Does anybody have questions about that? Okay, so what did we talk about? And what is the most important thing the defender does when they're not the one pinching? Back checking would be forwards, right? The most important thing that this opposite side defender does is get to the center of the ice, right? And then based on the speed is how they determine the way they play defense in this game.